I'll be pushing this legislation again this Congress and have a lot of support within our conference. So we'll be looking for movement on that bill. I really support Chris for what he does. He stands just with a sign and not saying any words, but he gets attacked for it. But the gender lies that are sold to children are absolutely evil. It should not happen in our education system. Teachers should not be saying these things, and it should be banned. I believe it should be banned from social media because it's a complete attack on children and the truth.
A couple days ago, Marjorie Drama Queen here was proudly holding an anti-trans rally outside the Capitol that attracted like 12 people. Out of lack of originality, Marge brought back the bigoted sign she first put up outside her office in 2021 to oppose her neighbor's pro-trans community flag. Now, we're no strangers to the fact that Marge hates trans people. She thinks they have a mental illness that you can catch, like a physical virus.
They just want you to think that all of a sudden the entire population is steadily turning gay or turning trans, just generation. Probably in about 4 or 5 generations, no one will be straight anymore. Everyone will be either gay or trans or non-conforming or whatever the list of 50 or 60 different options there are.
And it turns well-meaning people into predators.
I understand she has a trans daughter, and people said that was like very insensitive of you.
I didn't say anything about her biological son, but actually her biological son needs to stay out of my daughter's bathrooms and locker rooms. And
Marge is trying to convince you that trans people are mad cartoon villains who got exposed to some special breed of mind-altering spores or something, while she holds a sign that says, "Trust the science." Well, that's science fiction, and so is this.
There's only 2 genders, male and female. Trust the science, because the science shows us there's only 2 sets of chromosomes.
That's 2 gender lies. 1, gender and sex are not the same thing, and 2, your DNA does not guarantee that your genitals and your brain will be on the same wavelength. And guess what can prove it? The science. Scientists have noticed that variants in genes can influence estrogen's masculinizing effect on the brain. A few recent neuroimaging studies use diffusion tensor imaging, or DTI, to detect white matter differences in male and female brains. One study noted that in brains of female to male trans people, the white matter tract is more similar to the brain of a person born male than to a person born female. A second study found the male to female trans brain has a white matter tract that researchers argue has not been completely masculinized. And if you think that with age and time that can change, your identity is programmed into you, irreversible, despite what your genitals indicate. So gender identity isn't something you just pick up or choose. It's not really up to you. It's important not to assume you know everything about how complex systems like bodies work. You need to study them to better understand them. And what do you know? That's what trust the science means, right-wingers. So when you dingleheads throughout the pandemic basically said, don't trust the science behind vaccines, you were saying, don't investigate this novel COVID virus that's killing people left and right. Don't believe the people who are studying it and learned how to counter it with medicine. Don't wear masks while we figure out how transmissible this thing is. Just ignore it all. Or take useless drugs or drink bleach and shine a light down your throat and pray about it.
I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Supposing we hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light.
It's hard to convince fundamentalists like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who so aggressively believe in religious doctrine, that science doesn't go by those rules. We live in a society that pressures us to identify male or female, and fundamentalist religion just enforces that further. So much so that, hey, right-wingers, you listening? Masochism has dictated most of our history, and girls' bathrooms and locker rooms have been targets of perverted hetero men. We don't have to stay confused about gender identity like Marjorie and foment hate against people who exist outside of our ideological bubble. That's just laziness, and God, I hope that's not genetic. Hey guys, what should I talk about in my next video? Let me know. Keep the hope, and I'll see you then.